Hello, my lovely Leos. So I'm doing your forecast reading for 2024 and the energy that we have. Now, I'm doing something a little different in yours than I have done in the other videos so far this year. Don't know why I never thought about this or why I'm all of a sudden I want to do this, but I am incorporating a flash of, so I'll be moving from camera to camera as I'm recording this for you. So I'll show you the cards. So I will show you some of the cards as well that I will be pulling for the few cards I do use for these, because these are channeled and I do channel through this message. So so the first card that I pulled out was unassuming. Now I'll go to the cards in a few moments, but I want to start with this. And so this is the year of where, you may have been underrating, underestimating yourself, and all of a sudden you find the momentum and the power to start to do the things that you didn't think you had the courage for, or that you have put on the back burner for a while. And all of a sudden you're going to have the courage to do some of those things. Now, those things may include life changes. It may include making a choice to walk away from an unhealthy situation. It may be to move into leaving a position or starting a new position within a new company. It may be finally leaving a company that's been not really truly utilizing your gifts and your talents or what you bring to the table. And this may be the year when something else arises or an opportunity comes where it's one of those things you're just going to just jump into it with heart wide open and just know that you're doing the right things for the right reasons. Now, we do have also for my Leos this year, there's some hesitation. I'm feeling some hesitant energy, as if you need to have proof, you need to see things before it happens. There's a little bit of doubt that is in the Leo energy, and that doubt feels as if almost feels like someone's trying to like dampen your fire. Like you've either had a lot of gaslighting, or just the past few years with the challenging energies that's been on the go, is that there's a little bit of hesitation in trusting yourself or being able to know what to do. I feel like that's a part of the healing that you need to put your focus, that, or not need, you got a free will choice. That is an opportunity to put your focus into that area of healing and what needs to take place in your own healing journey. Probably mostly in a body, somatic body healing type of thing, to look at those areas of where, we can't even trust our own selves because we've been in such fight or flight kind of energy, and being able to trust yourself to move forward. Now, I do feel like some of my Leos have had their heart broken by the world. That this past year in 2023, you may have experienced some heartbreaks, and you may be coming through some healing part of that. I do feel like you are finding your strength again. I feel like you're finding your courage again to be able to move forward, or you are actively going through that heartbreak. You may have even broken some other hearts. So I'm just switching over for a moment here, as I want to show you what I have. So from my deck, from the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards, I have pulled out the unassuming Amara. And now with the unassuming Amara, and with this card and then the strength card, that these two cards have a lot of similarity for me. And they do kind of mirror each other to a certain degree. And so, sometimes our lowest moments are our most defining moments. And they are the moments when, you may be being underestimated because you may have been displaying your vulnerability to the world, and the vulnerability may have been shown and seen everywhere, and that you may appear as if you don't have the strength or you don't have the know-how to rise. But um there's the divine, and there's a virtuous strength. And so see this Leo lion here, is that this is the year to truly start to face those truths. Like, so assuming Amara is moving forward, the strength card, she's looking back, but with knowing that she can look back, she can face her challenges, she can face her challengers, she can face the things that has challenged her throughout life, because she knows that she has the power of the divine, she has the power of her guide, her guardian, that is traveling with her. And so by divine strength, with the knowing of knowing that the guardians are with her, is that she can do the things that needs to be done to become all of that strength. You know, some people think 13 is an unlucky number, but 13 is a lucky number. It's, 13 is not on the clock. Neither is the 0, right? Like, so the 13 is not on the clock, but it's just saying, it's not on the time of human time. It's not always in human times and divine timing. And sometimes we just needed that rest, that pause. And so the hesitation, the doubts may have been more of a rest period, more of a just being able to trust that, you need it to gain your strength, your power, to gain the wisdom that you need it to be able to go forward and move forward throughout life. I just lost a pile of cards. Yeah, just had to pick up a pile of cards on the floor. And I just feel like this is also a year of having the strength to pick up the pieces of self. Like, you're really going to be picking up a lot of the pieces of self that have fallen away. And I'm overlapping our cards here. So we have imperfectly perfect. We have Gemma coming in and accepting those imperfections of self, and then being able to feed the light. And I'm just going to move this candle back so I can feed the light there. So Rose, and so Rose is right underneath the rose quartz. What a coincidence that would show up. And this is some angel aura right here, and some smoky quartz. And so I feel like right here, this feeding the light is nurturing the love. So nurturing that sense of self-love within ourselves. What do you need? And that is acceptance. Have to accept the self, and just knowing that in your imperfections, in those times of challenges, is that awakens the lion, that awakens sometimes that truth. As long as we're always feeding our little monsters, we can't awaken the mystical, magical sense of that self that just knows and trusts our journey to be able to do those hard things, to be able to travel those paths of the unknown. So this year, this is where you are. You're going to be wearing, a different face type of thing, as you face the world in a unique way for you. And then I have the page of wands. See, they're all walking the same direction. But these two are walking the same direction. And so he's coming behind the strength. And so because the page is coming behind the strength, I feel as if the page of wands is almost like a little bit of that your truest of self, your insecure self, your fearful self, your unknown self, is to be a little bit behind the strength card, so that you can walk behind the divine. It's okay to let the divine walk before you. It's okay to let your light walk before you, because you got a lot of healing that's happening. So, sometimes when we want apples, we get oranges. And so the trees are full, but yet he's not noticing these trees. He's focused on one thing. I feel like he's laser focused on the direction where he needs to go, or the direction he needs to take. And his shoes are green. I feel like, for me, for my impersonation of, or my interpretation of this card at this moment, is that he's walking that healing journey. But what's walking behind him? What's coming behind this card? What's here and what's to the side? And so the illusion of this balcony being high, is the trees really high, or is the balcony not really high? We see the sky. I feel like there's just so many things to be revealed to you this year, as things that you would have perceived as being challenging, or things that you would have seen as obstacles, or things that felt like I didn't get what I wanted in the last few years. Like, the last few years have tested me. I didn't get apples, so I got oranges. And so if I got oranges, what do I do with those oranges? And it's like, you can make just as many great things from the oranges, right? It's like now with that energy, and what's this speaking to me is that there is movement. And what matters is that this year is going to be about movements. What are we walking into? So Amira, this unassuming, is meeting the Page of Wands. And so what's coming to meet you this year? What are you going to be meeting that's going to require strength? And this is where you are going to be required to use to bring forth this self to meet whatever's on the back end of this Page of Wands. There is your desires, what you are desiring, is desiring you. What you are desiring is desiring you. So if you're desiring, if you're desiring the love of your life, then the love of your life is also desiring you. But if you get focused on just accepting, a partnership because you're lonely, you will not get the love of your life. You will be feeding the lonely. And if you feed the lonely, you'll only get what you want. That's just something to fill the lonely. If you want the love of your life, you have to stay focused. If you want the job of your life, if you want the career of a lifetime, you have to stay focused on what truly matters to you. And so we have the Emperor on the other end of the Page of Wands, which is so amazing. So this is where, you have to become that leader. And so this is the major arcana. This is also Archangel Michael. This is where the Emperor ties into, so this fire, so this energy with this Emperor is that the Emperor is often linked. So the Emperor here is coming up with a sword. But for me, the Emperor is often tied, and so this is in another deck of, this is in the Angel Tarot, but being tied to the Aries energy, which is also a fire energy. And so this Emperor, and what this Emperor is showing us, is that if you want to really meet the things that you truly desire, requires you to get clarity in your thoughts, to be realistic and logical to the fact of how do I make these things come into my life. Is that if you're going to focus on what you don't want, you're going to get more of what you don't want. If you're going to focus on what you want, you're going to get more of what you want. And so you have to stay focused on what it is that you want. You have to take charge, and this is where the strength comes in, is that you have to take charge of your life. And that includes being able to see all perspectives, all sides. If just walk over and look over the balcony, right? And see how far down is that? Where is he really? Is he really on the top floor? Is he just on the lower level? Where is this Page of Wands sitting? Where am I in my story? Where am I in my own life? And what is waiting for me? And what do I do with this energy? What do I do with this that I'm feeding into? How do I take it? How do I use this to my advantage? And you got to ask yourself that on such a deep level. You got to go inward this year and just really seek to discover the truth of you and what it is that you really want, and accepting the imperfections. It's a year to start healing why do we become a perfectionist? Why do we become a people pleaser? Why do we become so obsessed, right? That's that sense of obsessions and OCDs, and right, it's fear stories. And so if we release the fear stories, yes, you're going to be afraid. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to know being afraid allows us to slow down and observe what is happening before we jump into action, before we start doing something that is not going to align to what it is that we are seeking and searching in our lives. Peaceful perspective. Paisley, she's coming out in reverse. So, it's like we can say, I've made peace with this, I've done this, but if you keep holding on to the past, you're going to, if you keep holding on to the past instead of facing it, healing it, resolving it, and releasing it, then you're always going to be attached to trying to reach, the unobtainable, because you're trying to reach it because of past experiences. Whereas peaceful perspective is we make peace with, this is where I was, this is the mistakes I've made, this is the so-called failure I've been through, this is the endings, all of those things. But if you look in deeper, you'll find the treasures. I needed those experiences, or those experiences, were a part of my journey. And by releasing that, it brings us back into this self-love. We start flowing in. If you notice, this flow of her shelf flows into this imperfections. And right here. And so when we release all of the past and we release what we're holding on to, we free others of our story, which is an important part of feeding the light, is that you release others of the attachments of what you've held them to, or how long you've held on to something you needed to let go of. So there's a lot of transition around you this year. There's a lot of movement around you this year coming up. And it's all a good thing, but it's going to require the strength to be able to do the things you need to do. And so planting seeds. So seeds well planted is what we're getting, and brilliant ideas. And it just feels like that sense of being the hero of your own story. You've planted a lot of seeds in your dreams and what you wanted. And I just feel like this is the year, like I said in the beginning, where I feel like it is a pivotal turning point. You're at the peak. You are at a very good peak point of life, of where you have to pull up and pull into, trusting that those ideas and those thoughts, when they are created with clarity, are going to bring you to that place of great satisfaction. Now, we got to go through the winter. You got to get through the winter season. So I'm going to actually move these around. You got to get through the winter. So there is, like I said, part of the healing is through the winter, but it doesn't mean good things are not happening in the winter. There's a butterfly. So there's a lot of spirit. There's a lot over here cheering you on. And so here's this hard rock, but in order to get the crown, he has to get that sword up, right? He has to be able to get that crown from there. So we have to pull out the thoughts. You have to remove that sense of being stuck in the old thoughts to get to that crowning glory, to know that you're worthy of the seeds that were planted. Watering cans. See, 2 watering cans, watering can there and watering over here. And this is where there's a little yellow bird. And so this is, what are we nurturing, right? It's the seeds we plant. So what kind of seeds we plant is what we will grow. So if you want to grow beautiful things, you better be planting beautiful seeds. And I feel like you have. And so this wall is beyond all that holds her. This is her protection. This is her safe place. And so this year will be where you get a return on your investments. If you choose wisely, if you do the work, there is a return on, it's a return on the investment. And so if you also have been making investments and financial investments, and you invested money, or you got involved in some sort of investment, and it seems like it was just going slow, or it's been stagnant, this will be the year that you may see it start to come back to you, start to see the money come in, start to see things unfold. And so, yeah, and when things are going great, of course, that's often when we meet that conflict. So when you're looking in at you, and I feel like there is a challenge, and sometimes that's with ourselves, right? And I said, this is the year that some of you will be walking away from unhealthy relationships or conflicts in work. And it may be keeping you up at night. You may be worrying about this, but you're being told not to let that worry in. It's, because you got to remember your why, remember why you're doing what you're doing. And some of you are going to be moving on. And so you're going to be moving on from jobs, unhealthy relationships, whatever that may be. You may be going to try to find the thing that you love the most, or the thing that you are seeking out. So you will be going on a bit of a journey this year. Be careful though, because I feel like it's like you need balance in your life. So because these investments, because there's so much happening, especially once spring comes, You're going to be riding the waves. Remember, you are fire in water. And so if don't let the emotions override, don't get overexcited. Don't try to rush things. Don't go trying to juggle the time. Don't juggle. Don't be juggling time. Don't be trading off your time for money. I feel like it's like you have to balance everything in your life. This is a year of where you need to be very balanced. You have to focus on balance, and because it's going to be, you're going to be riding that wave until at least summer. I feel like it's like until at least your birthday rolls around again and your birthday month rolls again. And then it's going to be another shift from you. And that's where the wheel turns, and that's where the tides turn again and change happens. So you're going to find yourself going, really truly starting to get to work on then moving into, reinvesting, what plans do I want to make? It may be when you start to think about going back to school, starting a business, starting a family, settling down, all of those things. But those seeds, see the little plant, there's new life growing in that plant there. There is she can see there is something new coming, and she can see that it's worth putting the work in. So you're discovering that you are worth the investment. Your relationships that you're investing in is worth it. And for some of you, you may find yourself in a romantic relationship coming in here. But this could also be starting to step into a more blissful, joyful kind of emotional response, starting to love life, starting to come forward. And the chest is wide open, which means heart wide open, solar plexus wide open. It's just like the power, the strength, is all in the heart. It's, just a heartfelt sense of living is what's coming up for me here. And I feel like you're going to be falling in love with life, and probably falling in love with what's coming, and falling in love with the unknown of, I may not know what's happening, but I just know there is something that is just calling me, and I just got to keep going. I want to get to that next point. I see this whole wheel. I see all that's on this wheel, and I want to, I know I'll have to meet some of the challenges, but I want to keep going. I want to keep going. And so the fresh start is the enthusiastic knowing that you're just going on a journey. I feel like you're going to, meet your mentor this year, meet those people. This may also be you. And, just looking in at trust, who you bring into your life this matter, because there's a lot of wise investments. You've invested well into moving forward, is that you need to have people on your side who you can trust. And as you start to move away from the ship, all the past energy and the past experiences, is, you open your heart again, but you also use discernment in not just trusting everybody. Trust is, that's respect is earned. And I feel like you will be earning the respect of other people, but people have to earn your respect. And so those people that weren't always there for you, if some are, some was not a negative intention or a bad intention, or, not so great intent, or some of them were not ill intended behaviors of why they probably weren't so supportive. And you're just going to see that some of those come back into your life, but they're well intended, but some people are just not getting back in. And it's going to be totally acceptable that you're just not so open to everyone, that you are more cautious, you are more aware of where you're going and what you're doing this year. The investments of, you're investing into your emotions this way. You're investing into your happiness. You're investing into your future. And so your future doesn't mean that you're always going to be staying in old places. Loyal and dedicated, I'm telling you. So we have the Knight here of Pentacles. And I feel like perfect timing. So just because things are going good, remember, build before you build. Whatever it is that you want to do, you want to build before you build. There's nothing more no more honorable than having that horse by your side, right? And so we got the white horse, we got the black horse, which means we also have that move forward, that chariot. But build before you build. Have a plan. Be loyal to you, to your needs, to your happiness, first and foremost. before anything else. But I feel like for some of you, you are making a plan, you are moving forward, you have some very good opportunities and some great growth that is coming your way. And so you do have to build before you build, make a plan, make plans with others, start, it's safe for you to make a plan. I feel like for some of you, maybe building your own house, you may be starting a business plan. And don't just run out and impulsively start a business without some thought going into what it is that you need. What do I need to back this, so that you build a strong foundation. A strong foundation is a must for my Leos this year, because you're going to need it to hold up the weight of what is coming. It's like I said, it's a big treasure. It can be big treasures. It can be amazing. It can be a year of absolute abundance coming into your life and beautiful opportunities. Got to clear the way. You don't want to carry the old. You don't want to bring the old into the new. The foundation needs the weight of it, and the weight of it's not bad. It's not that it's carrying the weight of the world. It's carrying the weight of all of the good treasures, the love, the joy, the abundance of beautiful things that are here for your life to move forward, moving into 2024. So you may feel exhausted in a different way by the end of the year than you were in the beginning. You may be exhausted and depleted in the beginning of the year, but it's going to take some work. But by the end, it is exhausted but excited. It just feels like it is the opportunity to be able to be excited about that life, what's coming forward for us. There's a lot of powerful energy, a lot of people at play in your life this year. I feel like there's it just feels like there's a movement of people. You are shuffling through and decipher and deciding, who gets to sit at your table this year, who gets to be there. And it's those who are loyal and trustworthy, those who can mirror the enthusiasm, the kindness, and the compassion that you have for the world, because this year is about a soul connection. This year is about living from the soul, trusting your soul self to make the choices and decisions for you. And it's about that sense of contentment and peace. And this is where you get to be at the very top. You get to see the sunsets and the sunrise. You get to see what's coming towards you, and having the courage to face and see the things that's coming at you, so that you can use discernment on whether or not those things deserve to sit at your table and to be a part of your future. It's a year for opening your heart and self-love, self-care, nurturing what needs to be nurtured within you. Embrace the journey. That's what I have for you this year. So be careful of your back. Watch for back issues. That I do get. So watch for back issues. I feel like it's like you maybe, be careful of overdoing it, overextending, and over pushing. If you're somebody who lifts a lot of weights and stuff, be careful of over pushing and overlifting the weights when you're trying to work through like some emotional things. Sometimes your body may not feel weak, but when your heart is weak and when your energy is weak and when you don't have the energy to do something, sometimes you need to slow down, give your body a rest, or else you will overextend, pull something in your body, and your body will slow you down. So be aware of that this year. Travel is also a possibility for you this year. I feel like, you may be coming to shore. So we have a lot of, possibilities of travel, but all the travels that do happen are all things that are going to be providing aha moments for you. Maybe a cruise is here for you this year. I feel the possibility of a cruise coming in, maybe a riverboat cruise. But yeah, I just feel like there's just so many beautiful things possible. But you'll be exhausted in the beginning, exhausted in the end, but for totally different reasons. I send you much love. Have a beautiful year, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.